break, we were listening to the Honorable James David Manning, Ph.D., the energetic and visionary pastor of the Atla World Missionary Church located in Harlem, New York, which he calls Atla. He's founded 3 schools and developed a national church ministry. He holds a Ph.D. in philosophy, the author of the book The Oblation Hour, a former marketing executive with Procter & Gamble and the Ford Motor Company.
Obama! That's who they're saying now. Obama! But I told you Obama got a white mama.
Well, a little while back, we were speaking to Pastor Manning of the Atla World Missionary Church here in New York City. He had just been quoted as saying something along those lines.
Obama! That's who they're saying now. Obama! But I told you Obama got a white mama.
Pastor Manning joins me now on the phone. Pastor Manning?
Yes, I'm here.
How are you?
I'm just fine. Thank you for having me.
So here we have the publisher of the NAACP Journal Crises, Roger Wilkins,
Right.
essentially vouching for Barack Obama to a pretty liberal crowd today, saying, I know you all have questions about whether Obama is really black, and I'm telling you he is black enough.
Well, I guess you don't have to be very black for an organization like the NAACP. After all, they still have the word colored in their names. The National Association of Colored People is what they call themselves. And that organization was founded by Harvard scholar W.E. Du Bois.
Yes.
And Du Bois, in his encyclopedia, stated that only 10% of black people had any sense to function in American society anyway. So I guess what they're saying at the NAACP, or what Wilkins is saying, is that Obama meets the 10% standard, is what they're probably saying.
You are not an Obama supporter, are you?
I don't think I am at this time.
Why not?
Well,
you're not a Republican or a conservative.
I'm neither of those. I'm a Christian is what I am. But as Wilkins has stated, there is an issue with Obama's nationality. I mean, he's saying that Obama is black enough for him, which means there's a challenge out there sneaking around somewhere that says that he's not black enough. So this seems like an affirmation to me. And, of course, I'm concerned about his racial mix as being the president. If you want to get somebody black, get Wesley Snipes. He's black enough for everybody.
Pastor Manning, are you saying that a black person is degraded by white ancestry?
Well, no, I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying that, Obama has this racial mix, and not everybody is satisfied with that as a candidate to represent black people. And as your piece opened up with the fact he was raised in Hawaii, his mother is white, he lived a privileged life, I'm not sure he understands being black.
He says he does.
Well, saying is one thing, but actually understanding it is another. The NAACP has its own agenda as well, and obviously they're understanding the rumors and the rumblings underneath that Obama is not black enough, so they're trying to make it so. But, their agenda is to try to get a candidate that would possibly help them in their fundraising process. I don't think they care anything about him being black or white. I think they're looking at their own end in terms of raising and keeping their own organization alive.
Now, you are a minister in a
pastor for 25 years in the community formerly known as Harlem. Everybody knows for that. God's changed the name of the community to Atla. But yes, I'm here for 25 years.
Now, Pastor, are you a Clinton supporter?
No, I'm not a Clinton supporter either. In fact, the piece that you played of mine stating Obama has a white mama was to simply say to everybody that blacks used to support Clinton, lock, stock, and barrel, but now they've jumped ship and now they are supporting Obama. And I'm trying to figure out why. I mean, wasn't he good enough for everybody, Clinton? And, of course, President Clinton and now his wife Hillary's candidacy is what I'm trying to discuss.
Well, obviously, but, at the time, you remember that a lot of black people said Bill Clinton was the first black president.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
He related to and he understood black people, and he had a camaraderie with black people.
People's pain. It's recorded everywhere that President William Jefferson Clinton was the first black president. So if Obama does become president, he's number 2.
Well, so Doesn't it make sense, though, that when black people look up and say, well, there's a white man and he's my first black president, that when a candidate comes forward who is at the very least black, or maybe I should say it another way, not white, that they would say, well, now here I get a candidate who can be a black president who is black. And maybe that's an improvement.
Well, I think what it says in essence is that black people, African Americans in general, have a tremendous leadership crisis and also an identity crisis as well, because they identified Clinton as the first black president. And now they're harping on Obama because he is partially black. He's really never done anything that qualifies him to be president. Of course, that can be said about a whole lot of people, but it certainly can be said about him, and you won't miss him when you shoot with that direction. But, I think black folk have a terrible identity crisis, and they need to try to fix it, and Obama's not going to be the person that does it for them.
Well, and just in terms of what he says, his politics, I mean, if you look at his voting record, it is arguably more liberal than John Kerry or Teddy Kennedy.
Yeah, it is that. No doubt about that.
And he makes all the right sounds about getting along and doing things that you would think the black community would be interested in. Isn't he a candidate that speaks for the black community?
I don't think so. I don't think so. I think he speaks to some degree to the black leadership, but I'm not sure that the black leadership is in touch with the black community. In fact, I'm confident that they're not. That's why the black community is in such shambles. So he may speak to the leadership in terms of their corporate understanding and their fundraising practices and their own idea, media, and celebrity, but not to the black people in general.
Okay, well, Linda, put it this way. Are we getting to the point where I could say, Pastor Manning, it appears that you believe that Obama's appeal is not to black people, but to white people?
And I would say amen goes right there.
That he is an acceptable black man to a wide swath of a great number of white people.
Well, I'm glad you said that, because that's exactly what's going on. I've been working on this theory. I'm not sure how confident, how sure I am about this. But listen, it seems to me that white folk are putting together a ticket to bring Obama and Hillary together. And listen to this for just a second. And it's coming out of the Hollywood connection, the Steven Spielberg group, those folk out there in Hollywood. And what they're planning on, it looks like a conspiracy to put Hillary and Obama against one another. It's all white folk. It ain't black folk got nothing to do with it, except the black folk that are being paid off by the white folk. And, to run them together and drive up all this hype, then give Hillary the nod and make Obama vice president. You'll have, as far as they're concerned, the best of both worlds, and they can make a movie out of it or some sort of, television production. I think that's what's going on.
Well, is that something that you would think would be a good thing?
No, I would be very disappointed if that took place.
Why?
Because it would. Well, first of all, I'm not for Hillary as president. I think that the country would certainly go to south in many ways, and then of course it would then give black people a sense of false hope. This business of civil rights, where black folk and their leadership have been for the last 50 years, has been terribly destructive since the death of Dr. King, and it has brought such horror and pain upon the black families, the black churches, the black communities, because they keep harping on this civil rights as a way of pulling themselves up out of the mess that they're in, the abyss that they're in, rather than looking at gathering themselves together, gathering their own strength, stop blaming white folk for everything, and get on the bandwagon and do something about their own problems. Civil rights keep saying to them, it's not your problem. So if Hillary becomes president and Obama vice president, they'll be further removed from looking at themselves and looking to their God, who is Jesus, to help them to get up out of their problems. And so it would be an awful thing. It would be a terrible day. It would be a 9/11, if you will, all over again if that should take place, if you ask me. And I think the world would know that, too.
Pastor Manning of the Atla World Missionary Church here in New York City. Pastor Manning, it's always good to talk to you. We will explore your politics on another day. It's fascinating, isn't it? Just fascinating.